The Great Hall of the Galactic Council floated in orbit above a dying red star. Every race in the known galaxy had sent their ambassadors. Voices of 1,000 worlds once filled this place, but now it was quiet. Too quiet. At the center stood one human, Ambassador Elena Cross. Her uniform was neat, her eyes tired. She had spent months asking, reasoning, pleading for peace between the Terran Union and the Kralith Empire. But peace had died long before she arrived. Today was the last meeting. A soft hum echoed as the council chair, a being made of light and mist, spoke. Ambassador Cross, the council cannot support your demands for retribution. Humanity must learn restraint. That word again, restraint. It was the same word she had heard when the colony of Haven 3 was burned to glass. The same word when the Kraliths released footage of human prisoners in chains. The same word while billions begged for help and no one came. Elena took a deep breath. Restraint, she said slowly. You call restraint watching innocent people die? Murmurs spread across the circular chamber. Alien delegates looked away, avoiding her gaze. The Kralith ambassador, a tall, insect-like creature with a golden shell, leaned forward. His voice clicked like grinding metal. Humans expand too fast. You claim worlds that are not yours. You provoke war and then cry when stronger species respond. Elena's fist tightened. Stronger, she said. You attacked unarmed settlers. The Kralith let out a low, vibrating laugh. Because they were weak. The galaxy respects strength, not pity. That sentence fell like a blade. Something inside Elena turned cold. She looked at the council, hundreds of faces from hundreds of stars, and saw only silence. So she made her choice. She closed the treaty file on her datapad. The sound echoed through the hall like a gunshot. Then you will have your answer, she said. Humanity will speak in the language you understand. And she turned and walked away. No one stopped her. No one spoke. They only watched as the lone human left the hall. Head high, step steady. When the door closed behind her, the chamber remained in absolute silence. Not even the council chair dared to speak first, because everyone knew what history said about humans. When humans stopped talking, they started fighting. 3 days later, Lunar Command Base. The blue glow of Earth filled the window as Admiral Marcus Vale studied the tactical maps. Around him, officers moved like shadows, urgent, focused, silent. Elena Cross stepped in, now wearing the black uniform of Fleet Command. Her diplomatic badge was gone. Vale looked up and gave a slow, tired smile. So the council turned their backs again? She nodded. They told us to show restraint. He laughed once bitterly. Then let's show them what human restraint really looks like. On the command screens, fleet icons began to appear. Erebus, Titan, Solhammer, Vigilant Dawn. Hundreds of ships waking from orbit. Engines heating. Guns charging. Admiral, said an officer, the council might call this an act of war. They already did, Vale answered. We're just making it official. Elena walked to the glass wall and looked out at Earth. I hoped words could save us, she said quietly. I really did. So did I, Vale replied. But the stars only respect fire. Across the galaxy, news spread faster than light. Human ambassador leaves council. Terran fleet mobilizing. Earth prepares for war. Many species laughed. The Terrans are too small, said a reptilian commander. Their fleet is outdated. They can't fight the Kralith Empire, another said. They'll beg for peace again. But something strange happened. Every human system went dark. No trade signals, no communication, no diplomatic channels. A perfect, eerie silence. Then within a single cycle, a Kralith patrol fleet vanished near the Orion Rim. 30 warships gone without a trace. The only clue was a fragment of human transmission picked up before the static. This is Operation Firestorm. The era of silence is over. Back on Luna, Admiral Vale stood before a holomap showing red enemy zones and blue Terran fleets. They think we are weak, he said to his officers. Let's remind them what humanity does when cornered. Elena watched the map flicker with battle plans, the names of fallen colonies glowing like ghosts. No more treaties, she whispered. No more begging, Vale nodded. Only fire. Outside the window, the first Terran dreadnoughts rose into the blackness of space, engines burning like sunrise. Ending Hook far away, the Galactic Council met in secret. The chair being of light spoke in fear this time. They will not stop. They have united, an old alien replied softly. Then the galaxy is about to remember why humans were once called the children of fire. And somewhere between the stars, a fleet moved unseen, silent as vengeance. Humanity had walked away from diplomacy, and the galaxy was about to pay the price. The void of space was silent, too silent. No signals, no movement, no life. Only the endless darkness around the Krylith patrol fleet drifting near the Orion Rim. Admiral Scar Thule, commander of the Krylith 6th Armada, clicked his mandibles in boredom. No sign of Terran ships, his navigator reported. They hide behind fear, Scar Thule said. They talk, they beg, they never fight. He leaned back in his command chair made of black crystal and stared at the starfield. But then, a small light appeared on the edge of the sensors. Just one dot, a faint human signal. Identify, Scar Thule ordered. The AI replied, Old Terran code, outdated, possibly a decoy. He laughed. Let it come. We will burn it for sport. Moments later, the stars behind the signal began to move. No, not move, multiply, 1, 2, 20, 100. Suddenly, the radar flooded with readings. Human ships emerging from cloak, their hulls black as midnight. A calm human voice filled the Krylith channel. This is Terran Fleet Command. You broke the treaty. We're here to collect the debt. Before Scar Thule could reply, the void exploded in light. The return of the Terran's human warships moved in perfect silence. No hails, no warning shots. Their weapons fired pure plasma beams and rail slugs glowing blue-white. Every shot found its target. The Krylith fleet tried to respond, but their systems went blind. Something jammed their sensors. Their shields flickered and died. How are they doing this? Cried a Krylith officer. It's impossible. But it wasn't. It was Operation Firestorm. The plan humans had been building for 10 long years. Every colony destroyed, every life lost, had become fuel for this moment. The humans had studied every alien weapon, every tactic, every weakness, and now they unleashed it all. In just 6 minutes, 30 Krylith warships burned. The Terran flagship, TNS Vengeance, glided through the wreckage like a silent predator. On its bridge, Admiral Marcus Vale watched the battle unfold. His eyes were calm, not joyful, not angry, just focused. Report, he said. All enemy ships destroyed, sir. 0 losses, Vale nodded. Good. Send the message. A human officer opened a channel to all nearby systems. This is humanity. We no longer ask for peace. We will make it. Scene shift, Galactic Council. The council chamber was chaos. Holograms of burning ships and broken fleets filled the air. Ambassadors shouted over each other. 30 Krylith ships destroyed in minutes. They used stealth technology the council banned. How did humans build that fleet so fast? The chair being of light spoke in a trembling voice. Find Ambassador Cross, bring her here. But someone answered quietly. She's gone. She's with them. A cold silence fell again. Because now the galaxy understood. Humanity wasn't just fighting for survival. They were fighting to end fear itself. Scene shift. Human fleet. HFY inside the Terran command carrier Erebus. Yelena Cross stood beside Admiral Vale. The command room was dim, filled with the glow of hundreds of holographic screens showing the war map. First strike complete, said Commander Harlow. Krylith border systems are blind. They can't see us coming. Vale crossed his arms. Phase 2 begins now. We hit their shipyards. Elena watched the stars through the viewport. We were called dangerous once, she said softly. They were right, Vale replied. We are dangerous. But only when we're pushed, she looked at him. How far will we go? As far as they went with our people, he said. Maybe farther. Krylith homeworld, panic and pride. On the Krylith capital, the Emperor's throne room trembled as alarms blared. Holograms showed human fleets approaching their outer worlds. How can this be? One general hissed. Their numbers were small. The Emperor rose, his golden shell glinting in the firelight. Then we make them bleed, he said. Call every fleet, every ship. Crush them before the others join, but it was already too late. Other alien races were watching, afraid. Because if the Kryliths could fall so easily, what chance did anyone else have? The Battle of Rithar station hours later, the humans attacked again. This time at Rithar Station, a massive Kralith shipyard orbiting a dying moon. Thousands of drones worked there, building the Empire's strongest dreadnoughts. The sky turned white as the Erebus fleet arrived. Dozens of Terran destroyers moved like wolves. They didn't waste words. "Target reactors," ordered Vale. "Fire at will." The first human missile hit the core of Rithar Station. The explosion tore through space, a shockwave so bright it lit up nearby planets. The Kralith defenders fought hard, but they couldn't match the precision of human fire. Every Terran ship moved in formation, as if following one mind. In the chaos, Admiral Vale stood unmoving. "This isn't revenge," he said quietly. "This is warning." The message after the battle, Elena recorded a message for the galaxy. Her face was calm, her voice steady. "To the Galactic Council, you told us to show restraint while our worlds burned. You told us to wait while our children died. Now you will wait. Watch and remember this. Humanity asked for peace. You denied it. Now we will make our own." The message was broadcast across every major channel. Every species saw it, and for the first time in centuries, they were afraid of humans again. Ending hook as the Erebus fleet drifted through the wreckage of Rithar Station, Elena stood beside the Admiral. The stars ahead were dark and endless. "They'll call us monsters," she said. "Let them," Vale replied. "Monsters end wars," she turned to him. "And after the war?" He looked out at the stars. "Then maybe we'll finally be left alone." The human fleet turned, engines glowing red like burning suns, heading deeper into Kralith territory. Operation Firestorm had just begun, and the galaxy was about to learn what happened when diplomacy failed. Space burned. Wreckage from the destroyed Rithar Station drifted through the void like glowing ash. Among it moved the Erebus fleet, silent and unstoppable. Humanity's vengeance had begun, and every empire in the galaxy felt it like a chill through their bones. On the bridge of the TNS Vengeance, Admiral Marcus Vale watched the debris spin past the viewport. His reflection in the glass looked older now, colder. "How many dead?" he asked quietly. "Kralith losses total." "Terran losses none," an officer replied. Vale didn't smile. Victory no longer felt like triumph. It felt like justice done too late. The Kralith response far across the stars, the Kralith Empire roared. Cities screamed in panic as the Emperor declared total war. No more treaties. No more mercy. "Find the humans and crush them." Hundreds of Kralith warships rose from their worlds. They gathered in swarms, black and gold, forming the largest armada in their history, over 3,000 ships. In the command nest of the Emperor's Spear, Kralith Admiral Scarthul, the only survivor of the Orion Rim battle, spoke through shattered pride. "They fight like beasts, but they are still few. We will drown them in numbers." "You failed once," hissed another general. "Then I will not fail again," Scarthul growled. He looked at the hologram of Earth. "Burn their cradle. Burn their sky. Seen Earth Command, Luna Base." The situation table glowed red. Lines of enemy movement converged toward Sol System. The Kralith Armada was coming, the largest force humanity had ever faced. Ambassador-turned-Commander Elena Cross stood beside Admiral Vale, her eyes fixed on the map. "They want Earth," she said. "They'll have to go through fire first," Vale replied. Across the moon's surface, Terran defenses prepared. Rail cannons, orbital shields, drone swarms, and sleeper fleets hidden under dark code. Every weapon was ready. "Do you think we can hold them?" Elena asked. Vale turned toward her, voice steady. "No, we won't hold them. We'll break them." The invasion begins. The stars near Jupiter lit up first. Thousands of alien ships dropped from warp. Their engines shone gold like suns. Kralith drones flooded ahead, metallic locusts covering the void. Behind them came carriers, dreadnoughts, and siege platforms. Earth Command went silent. Everyone watched the live feed. The largest battle in human history had begun. "All fleets engage at will," Admiral Vale ordered. The human ships launched from the moon like arrows of light. The Erebus, Vengeance, Soulhammer, and hundreds of destroyers tore through the black with engines burning blue. The two forces met above Jupiter's red storms, and the galaxy trembled. The Battle of Jupiter, at first. The Kralith believed in numbers. They expected humans to break, to scatter. But the Terran fleets didn't scatter. They moved like a single organism, precise and brutal. When Kralith ships advanced, humans split formation, striking their flanks. When Kraliths jammed communication, humans switched to laser code and continued flawlessly. "How do they adapt so fast?" shouted a Kralith captain. "They are learning us," his superior replied. "Every second they learn." The TNS Vengeance fired a rail slug through 3 enemy ships in one shot. The explosion illuminated the battle like daylight. "Sector 7 clear," called Commander Harlow. "Keep moving," Vale said. "Never let them breathe." On Earth, the waiting. While the battle raged above Jupiter, people on Earth watched from screens, praying in silence. Children drew Terran warships with crayons. Old veterans stared at the sky, remembering old wars. For the first time in centuries, the planet was united, not by fear, but by fury. A global message echoed, "For Haven 3, for the lost." For humanity, Kralith desperation hours passed. The Kralith fleet began to crumble, their weapons overheated. Their comms filled with static. Inside the Emperor's spear, Admiral Scarthul screamed, "Focus fire on their flagship." Hundreds of plasma lances targeted the Vengeance. The ship shook violently as shields failed and decks cracked. Alarms screamed. Shields collapsing. Reactor at 80%. Elena gripped the rail beside Vale. "If we fall, they'll reach Earth." Vale nodded. "Then we won't fall." He opened a private channel to all Terran ships. "To every captain, every crew, this is Admiral Vale. If you hear my voice, you are the sword of Earth. Hold the line. Make them remember who we are." The reply came not in words, but in action. Every Terran ship surged forward, engines blazing. They rammed, fired, and sacrificed. Human pilots laughed through the chaos, not madness, but defiance. And the galaxy watched in awe. The turning point when the Vengeance's main cannon overloaded, Vale made the call. "Divert power to the rail core. Full charge. That will destroy the ship, sir." "I know," Elena's eyes widened. "Marcus." He smiled faintly. "This is what fire means." The Vengeance turned toward the heart of the Kralith armada. The cannon glowed white-hot. For a brief moment, it was like a new sun rising above Jupiter. Then it fired. The beam cut through the center of the Kralith fleet, vaporizing hundreds of ships in seconds. The shockwave pushed even Terran ships away. When the light faded, half the Kralith armada was gone. The Vengeance drifted silently, engines dead. But Vale's voice still came through the comm. "Operation Firestorm continues. Don't stop now." Ending hookback at Earth Command, the signals went quiet. Elena stared at the blank feed from Vengeance, tears glimmering but voice steady. "He lit the fire," she whispered. "Now we carry it." Outside, the Terran fleets regrouped. Behind them, Earth glowed blue and peaceful. Head, only war and darkness. The Kralith Emperor watched the same battle reports and whispered in disbelief. "This is the wrath of Earth," and far away in the silent void, the wreck of the Vengeance drifted, its black hull still glowing faintly red. As if the ship itself refused to die, the wreck of the TNS Vengeance floated silently above Jupiter's red storms. Its hull was broken, engines dead, but inside, light still glowed faintly. Among the shattered decks and flickering panels, a heartbeat sensor blinked. Someone was still alive. The survivor in the ruined command deck, Admiral Marcus Vale, opened his eyes. Smoke filled the air, alarms whispered low, but he was breathing. Pain shot through his body, yet his mind was clear. The main reactor had blown, but somehow he had survived the blast. He looked around. Bodies of his crew lay where they had fallen, silent heroes of Earth. Vale pressed his hand on the cold metal wall. "You did well, old girl," he said softly to the ship. "You took half their fleet with you." He limped toward the emergency console. Half the systems were gone, but one line of code was still running. "The distress beacon," he smiled grimly. "Let's see if anyone still remembers me." He activated the signal. A pulse of blue light shot across space. An old Terran code used only once in history. Echo Fire Protocol. A call for every remaining Terran ship to rally. Scene: Lunar Command. Earth Orbit Commander Elena Cross stood before the giant screen showing the aftermath of the Jupiter battle. Smoke and wreckage filled the void. Thousands of ships had burned. The Vengeance was gone, or so they thought. Then a new signal appeared. An officer shouted, "Ma'am! Distress beacon detected, Terran code Omega 5. Elena froze. "Identify source." "It's coming from the Vengeance, ma'am." "It's alive." The entire room went silent. Elena's voice trembled. "Prepare rescue fleet. We're bringing him home. Scene, deep space." While the rescue mission prepared, the Kralith Empire reeled from the defeat. Entire fleets were gone, their homeworld shaken. The Emperor's voice echoed through the war chamber. "Find the human flagship. Destroy it. Show them the Kralith still rule." But fear spread among his generals. Every battle report told the same story. Human fleets appearing from nowhere, striking with perfect precision, then vanishing into the dark. They fought like ghosts. Some whispered that the humans were no longer just soldiers, they were vengeful spirits. The rescue, the Terran strike cruiser TNS Horizon, arrived at the wreck of the Vengeance. The ship's broken body hung against the glow of Jupiter like a tomb. "No life signs confirmed," said the pilot. "Scan again," Elena ordered from the bridge. Moments later, a faint reading flickered. "Wait, there. Single life form. Sector C12. Elena's chest tightened. "Send the recovery team. Go now." The small team entered the ruined ship, moving through dark corridors filled with smoke and silence. They found Vale beside the shattered command chair, barely conscious. His uniform was torn, blood dark against his sleeve, but his eyes opened when he heard the familiar voice. "Elena, you came." "Of course," she said, kneeling beside him. "You don't get to die yet, Admiral." He smiled weakly. "Did we win?" "We're still fighting," she replied. "Good," he whispered. Then it wasn't for nothing. They carried him out as the Vengeance finally gave way, breaking apart behind them. The light of Jupiter reflected on its surface one last time before it sank into the storm below. Scene, the Council. Fractures far away, the Galactic Council was falling apart. Species accused each other of cowardice. Some wanted to side with the humans, others with the Kraliths. Old alliances shattered overnight. The council chair spoke desperately. "If we don't stop this war, the galaxy will burn." But another ambassador shouted, "The galaxy is already burning. And it's the humans who lit the fire." No one realized that outside the council station, cloaked Terran probes were recording everything. Listening, watching, waiting. Scene, recovery on. Luna Base, Vale slowly recovered. Medical lights glowed softly around him. Elena visited every day, reporting updates. The Kralith fleet is retreating beyond their border. But they're building something big. "They'll come again," Vale said. "They always do." He looked out through the glass wall at Earth below. "How many did we lose?" "Too many," Elena whispered. Vale nodded. "Then we make it count," he turned toward her. "Activate Operation Echo. Let the galaxy hear our roar." Scene. Operation Echo across Terran space. Hidden fleets powered up. Stations that had been quiet for years suddenly came to life. Human engineers activated ancient weapon systems, automated drone armies, and planetary defense grids. A message spread through every channel. From Earth to the stars, humanity stands united. You attacked our children. You broke our peace. Now the fire answers. Human fleets began moving again, not in anger, but in purpose. They targeted Kralith command worlds, communication relays, and shipyards. Every strike was silent, fast, precise. The galaxy called it the Echo War. The Kralith counterstrike, but the Kraliths were not finished. They were building something deep inside their home system. A massive war engine known as the Sunbreaker, designed to destroy entire planets. Spies reported the weapon's activation to Earth Command. Vale listened quietly, then said, "If that thing fires, it's over. For all of us." Elena looked at him. "Then we stop it. No matter the cost." He gave a faint smile. "That's what I was hoping you'd say." Ending hookahs, the Terran fleets gathered for one final campaign. The stars ahead turned blood red from the glow of the Kralith Sunbreaker. Its power shook nearby moons. Even from light years away, sensors could feel its pulse. Vale stood on the command deck of the rebuilt Vengeance 2, his eyes fixed on that terrible light. "They think they know fire," he said quietly. "Let's teach them what it means." Elena nodded beside him, her voice steady. "For Earth?" "For everyone who can't fight back," he replied. And with that, the Terran fleet jumped into hyperspace, engines roaring like thunder. The final war was about to begin. The stars above the Kralith homeworld burned red. At the heart of their empire, a giant weapon rotated slowly. The Sunbreaker. It was the size of a small moon, made of black metal and glowing veins of plasma. It hummed like a living thing, feeding on the energy of their twin suns. When it fired, it could erase a planet in seconds. And its first target was Earth.Scene. Terran High Command, the war room on Luna Base, was silent. Every officer watched the holographic feed showing the Sunbreaker's growing power. Electric storms flared around it as the Kralith fleet assembled in formation. Admiral Marcus Vale stood at the center of the room, his expression cold but calm. "They want to end us," he said softly. "So we end this first." Commander Elena Cross nodded beside him. "We have one chance. The Sunbreaker fires in 40 hours. We strike before it's ready." Vale turned to the assembled captains. "You've seen what they did at Jupiter. You've seen our worlds burn. This time we bring the fire." The captains saluted. No one spoke. Everyone knew this could be humanity's final battle. Scene. The enemy's pride on the Kralith capital world. The Emperor watched his masterpiece rise into orbit. His generals bowed before him. "The humans are brave," said one, "but foolish. They will come." "Good," the Emperor smiled, his eyes cold. "Let them come. Let them see their end." He turned to his war minister. "When the Sunbreaker fires, I want Earth to vanish from the stars. Not even dust should remain." The chamber trembled as the weapon's core pulsed. The countdown had begun. Scene. The infiltration far across space. A Terran stealth cruiser, TNS Shadowwing, moved silently through asteroid fields. On board were Captain Rhea Lynn and her team, the best infiltration squad Earth had. Their mission: get inside the Sunbreaker. Destroy it from within. As they approached, massive Kralith patrol ships scanned the area. But human stealth tech was unpredictable, even to alien sensors. Rhea whispered, "We're ghosts today, boys. Let's make it count." The ship slipped between energy grids past the main defense ring until finally, "Contact," the pilot said. "We're inside the outer shield." They released small pods that latched onto the Sunbreaker's hull. Then, one by one, the humans entered the beast. Scene. The fleet mobilizes. Meanwhile, the main Terran fleet prepared for battle near Saturn. Over 800 ships, the largest human armada ever gathered. Their engines glowed blue against the darkness like a rising storm. Admiral Vale stood on the bridge of the Vengeance 2. "Fleet status?" "All units report ready, Admiral. Jump drives charged." "Good," he said. "Let's bring the thunder." He looked at Elena. "Once we start, there's no turning back." "There never was," she replied. Vale gave the order. "All ships, jump." In an instant, space twisted, and the human fleet vanished into hyperspace. Scene. The battle begins, the Kralith sensors screamed. In a flash of blue light, the Terran armada emerged right in front of the Sunbreaker. "Contact." "Human fleet detected," shouted a Kralith officer. "Activate defenses." "Fire everything." Beams of red plasma cut through space. Missiles streaked like comets. The humans returned fire. Railguns, fusion torpedoes, and kinetic lances tore into the alien lines. The sky turned into a storm of light and metal. Thousands of ships collided in chaos. Every second, explosions flared like dying stars. Vale shouted over the comms, "All units, form up. Focus fire on their carriers. Cut off their fighters." Elena's ship, TNS Horizon, moved beside the Vengeance 2, both leading the charge. Together they cut a path straight toward the Sunbreaker scene. Inside the Sunbreaker, deep inside the weapon, Rhea and her team planted charges near the main reactor. The heat was unbearable. Alien drones patrolled the corridors, glowing red eyes scanning the shadows. "3 charges set," whispered one soldier. "4th one on the core." Suddenly alarms screamed. Drones swarmed toward them, weapons blazing. "We're compromised," shouted Rhea. Gunfire echoed through the tunnels. One by one, her team fell back toward the exit, but Rhea stayed behind. She looked at the final charge, her hands shaking. "If I don't finish this, Earth dies." She pressed the detonator on a delay. "For humanity," she whispered. Scene. The turning point, on the Vengeance 2. Vale saw a flash from the Sunbreaker's core. What was that? Unknown energy spike, shouted an officer. Elena realized what it was. It's Rhea, she did it, but the Sunbreaker's power surged. Its main cannon began to glow, a massive beam forming at its heart. If it fired now, everything, human or alien, would be destroyed. Vale clenched his fists. We're out of time. All ships, pull back! Elena stared at him. And leave her? She knew the cost, he said quietly. But her sacrifice will save us all. Seen, the fire awakens. The Sunbreaker's light reached its peak. Then silence. The energy twisted inward instead of outward. The weapon began to collapse. Its core overloaded, glowing brighter than a sun. Rhea's voice came faintly over comms. Tell them. We fought back. A moment later, the Sunbreaker exploded. The blast ripped across space like a wave of fire. Kralith ships vanished in the light. Even human ships miles away were shaken by the shockwave. The Vengeance 2 turned just in time to escape. Behind them, the Kralith Empire's greatest weapon was gone. Seen. The aftermath silence returned to space. Where once the Sunbreaker stood, now there was only debris and fading embers. The surviving human ships regrouped. The fleet had taken heavy losses, but they had won. The galaxy was safe for now. Elena looked at the glowing ruins on the screen. She did it, she whispered. Vale nodded slowly. Rhea Lynn, the ghost who saved humanity. He stood straight, voice steady but heavy with emotion. Send the signal. Operation Echo is complete. Across space, Terran beacons lit up one by one. For the first time in years, the galaxy saw humanity not as prey, but as power. Ending hook but far away deep in Kralith space, something stirred. A dark fleet, larger, older, hidden for centuries, began to move. A single transmission echoed across the void. The Emperor is not dead. The true war begins now. Vale stared at the signal as it reached Earth Command. So, this wasn't the end, he said quietly. No, Elena replied. This was only the fire before the storm. The galaxy was quiet. Too quiet. After the destruction of the Sunbreaker, the Kralith Empire had gone silent. Their fleets were gone. Their worlds dark. For the first time in decades, no human ship was under fire. But Admiral Marcus Vale didn't believe in peace that came too easily. He stood in the observation deck of Luna Command, staring at the distant stars. They're not gone, he said quietly. They're hiding. Commander Elena Cross entered the room, datapad in hand. Our scouts confirm it. The Kralith core systems are completely dark. No communication, no movement, no energy signatures. Vale nodded. Like an animal playing dead. Seen. A ghost signal. 2 days later, a strange transmission appeared on the edge of Terran space. It was weak, broken, and old. Older than any human code. The message repeated only 3 words. The Emperor lives. Vale leaned forward. Trace it. Trying, said the officer. It's bouncing through dead relay stations. Cross half the galaxy. Origin? Unknown. It's coming from inside the Perseus Rift. Elena frowned. That region is uncharted. Nothing survives there. Not even light. Vale's eyes darkened. Then that's where he is. Seen. Journey into the rift, the Terran ship Vengeance the Sioux, and a small task force jumped into the Perseus Rift. A sector filled with ancient debris, black stars, and gravitational storms. It was a place no sane pilot entered. The moment they arrived, the stars disappeared, swallowed by endless darkness. Their sensors flickered. Communication dropped to whispers. Sir, said the comm officer, there's something out there. Passive, moving. Visuals? Vale asked. No clear image, just shadows. The ships moved slowly, their engines low to avoid detection. Suddenly, a faint light appeared ahead. A structure the size of a moon. It wasn't a planet. It was a fortress. Seen. The Black Throne. The structure was ancient, carved from black stone and alien steel. Thousands of faint red lights pulsed across its surface. Inside, the Kralith Emperor stood before a throne of glowing obsidian. But he was not alone. Something stood behind him. A tall, shadowed figure wrapped in light that bent around it. The Emperor bowed to the figure. The humans destroyed our fleets, Master. But we are ready to serve again. The figure's voice was deep and hollow, like a storm whispering across eternity. You failed. Yet their fire amuses me. Let them come. Its eyes, two burning stars, opened in the darkness. The galaxy has forgotten who built it. I will remind them, the Emperor trembled. This was no ordinary being. It was older than empires, older than the stars themselves. Seen. The ambush as the Vengeance 2 approached the fortress. Sensors screamed. Multiple energy spikes. We're surrounded! Out of the void, black ships appeared, silent and enormous, shaped like blades of shadow. They were not Kralith vessels. They were something else. Elena shouted, "Shields up! All hands, battle stations!" Red light filled the bridge as alien beams tore through the fleet. 3 Terran ships vanished instantly. Vale gritted his teeth. "Return fire. We're not running." The Vengeance 2 fired kinetic lances, each shot striking through the darkness. But the enemy ships absorbed the hits like smoke. "Their hulls are regenerating," shouted an officer. "They're alive," Elena whispered. "Seen the message." Suddenly a voice echoed across every human ship. It wasn't through comms, it came directly into their minds. "Children of Earth, you climb so fast and yet you still burn. I have watched your kind for 1,000 ages. When the stars fade, only one flame will remain. Mine." Vale clutched his head, fighting the pressure in his skull. "Identify the source. It's coming from inside the fortress," said the officer, trembling. The Emperor appeared on screen, his eyes glowing red. "You should have stayed on your little blue world." Then the shadowed figure stepped beside him. "I am the architect," it said. "I built the Kraliths. I built your enemies. You were never meant to rise this far." The transmission ended. Scene. Humanity strikes back. Vale's jaw tightened. "So the gods finally speak." He turned to Elena. "Target that fortress." "Sir, we can't. Our weapons can't penetrate their shields." "Then we'll make a new weapon." He opened a secured channel to Earth Command. "Initiate Project Dawnfire." Elena's eyes widened. "That's experimental. It could tear space-time apart." "So could that thing," Vale replied. "We use it. Or we die here." Scene. Project Dawnfire deep beneath the Vengeance 2. Engineers prepared the Dawnfire cannon, a prototype fusion weapon that harnessed raw starlight. It had never been tested in combat. It was meant to be humanity's last defense, its doomsday card. Vale stood over the weapon core. "Charge it. All reactors full output." "That could destroy us, sir." "Then we'll die making history." The ship vibrated violently as the weapon charged. Blue light gathered at its center, brighter and brighter until the hull itself began to glow. Scene. Clash of Titans. The fortress fired first. A beam of red light shot through the void, cutting through Terran ships like paper. The Vengeance 2's shields cracked, alarms blared. Vale shouted, "Now!" Fire Dawnfire. A colossal wave of blue-white energy erupted from the ship. It collided with the enemy beam, and for a moment the universe seemed to stop. Then the two energies exploded. The shockwave tore through the battlefield, scattering both fleets. The fortress cracked open, and for the first time the architect screamed. Scene. The aftermath. When the light faded, the Vengeance 2 floated among wreckage. Half the ship was gone, but the fortress was cracked, leaking dark energy into the void. "We did it," whispered Elena. "No," Vale said quietly. "We only woke it up." The remaining sensors showed something terrible. Inside the fortress, a new energy form was rising. Larger than any fleet. Older than any god. The architect's voice returned, weaker but full of fury. "You think you've won? You have merely opened the door." Then the fortress vanished in a burst of dark light, leaving behind a hole in space itself. Ending hook, Elena turned to Vale, terrified. "What was that?" "Not a weapon," he said slowly. "A gateway." She stared at him. "To where?" Vale looked out into the stars, his face pale. "To whatever made him." And somewhere, far beyond the galaxy, ancient eyes opened again, watching Earth with interest. The war wasn't ending. It was just becoming cosmic. The galaxy trembled. In the silent dark beyond known space, a new light appeared, black and alive. The gateway hung open like a wound in the universe. No stars shone near it, only a whisper echoing through every ship, every mind. "We are coming." Seen. The ruins of the rift, the Vengeance 2 drifted among wreckage. Half its hull was gone, but its heart still beat. Admiral Marcus Vale stood on the cracked bridge, the glow of the rift flickering across his face. Commander Elena Cross entered, holding a data pad filled with radiation readings. "The rift is expanding, sir. It's not just a hole anymore, it's growing." Vale didn't look away. "How long until it reaches inhabited space?" "At this rate, less than 5 days." Vale's voice hardened. "Then we stop it here." Scene: Earth Command across the solar system. Alarms echoed through every Terran base. The Galactic Council had fallen apart. Many alien races fled. Some surrendered, some simply disappeared. But Earth stood firm. The United Terran Fleet was assembling, the largest force ever built by humans. From Mars shipyards to Titan's orbital rings, ships of every design powered up. Even damaged vessels were refitted with emergency weapons. The message was simple: we fight or we vanish. Scene: the Architect returns inside the rift. Lightning storms of dark matter flashed. Out of the chaos, a colossal figure began to form, the Architect. But it was no longer alone. Behind it, countless other shapes moved, each one massive, ancient, and alien beyond comprehension. They were the Makers, the beings who had created life itself in the galaxy eons ago. Now they were waking up. The Architect's voice thundered across space, not through sound, but through thought. "You broke the seal. You challenged the order. Now humanity will witness the end of creation." Vale stared at the sensor feed. "My God," Elena whispered. "There's no way to fight that." Vale turned slowly. "There's always a way." Scene: Project Soulflare on the far side of the moon, hidden deep under the surface. An ancient Terran weapon came online, Project Soulflare. It was a fusion of alien and human science, designed to collapse energy fields by turning them inside out. Only one ship could carry it, the Vengeance 2, and firing it meant suicide. Elena read the data in silence. "It'll destroy the rift, yes, but it'll take us with it." Vale gave a faint smile. "We started this fight. We'll finish it." Scene: the last stand. The Terran fleet arrived at the edge of the rift. Thousands of ships spread out, forming a shining wall between the void and the rest of the galaxy. Every channel was alive with voices, human, alien, synthetic, all united under one command. Vale's voice echoed across the comms. "This is Admiral Marcus Vale, Terran Navy. The enemy you see before you does not fear us. They think we are weak. They think we were a mistake." He paused, his voice deep and steady. "So let's show them what a mistake can do." The fleet roared forward. Scene: the Battle of the Rift. The sky turned to fire. Human ships launched waves of missiles, railgun slugs, and plasma beams. The Architect's army answered with storms of anti-energy and dark matter. Entire fleets vanished in seconds. But humanity didn't retreat. Every ship that fell opened space for another to strike. On the Vengeance 2, alarms blared. Shields failing. Engines overheating. Structural integrity at 12%. Vale shouted over the chaos, "Hold the line! Focus fire on the central rift point." Elena's eyes widened as the rift began to pulse. "It's unstable. Now or never." "You need the final decision." Vale turned to her, his voice calm. "Get to the escape pod." "I'm not leaving you," Elena said firmly. "That's an order." "Then court-martial me later," she snapped. They locked eyes, sharing a small smile in the storm. "All right," Vale said. "Then let's end this together." He pressed the activation code. The Vengeance 2's main cannon began to glow white-hot as Project Soulflare charged. The Architect sensed it, its vast face twisting in fury. "You cannot destroy what made you." Vale looked into the light. "Watch us." Scene: the fire of humanity. Every Terran ship turned toward the Vengeance 2, watching as its light grew brighter than any star. The energy spike was off the charts. The ship's hull began to melt, Elena whispered. "It's beautiful." Vale's voice was the last thing anyone heard before the transmission cut out. "For Earth, for all of us." Then the Vengeance 2 fired. The beam shot straight into the rift. Time itself seemed to shatter. The Architect screamed, a sound that shook the void. The rift folded in on itself, collapsing in a flash of blinding white. And then, silence. Scene. The aftermath. When the light faded, the galaxy was quiet once more. The rift was gone. The Architect and its kind had vanished. Only debris and starlight remained. For weeks, search ships combed the area, but no sign of the Vengeance 2 was ever found. Yet across Terran space, people reported strange signals, short bursts of static repeating the same phrase. We held the line. Seen, years later, years passed. The galaxy rebuilt itself. Humanity became a legend, warriors who had faced gods and lived. In a quiet observatory on Mars, Elena Cross, now older, scarred but alive, looked up at the stars. She held a small communicator, cracked and faded. Sometimes late at night it still flickered with static. And one evening, she heard it, Elena. "We did it," she smiled through tears. "Goodbye, Admiral." She looked out into the stars and whispered, "You showed them what humanity means." Final lines, legacy, across the galaxy. Children of every species learned the same story. When gods rose, humanity did not bow. When darkness fell, they became the light, and the fire they left behind still burns.